So to introduce today's speaker, we have Dr. David Sattler from the psychology department. He's been working with Uili down in Tonga on climate change and disaster response. Some of you may know David. So I'm going to turn it over for the introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today and to have a very special guest from the Kingdom of Tonga in the South Pacific. I'm Dave Sattler, professor of psychology, and I am teaching an environmental psychology course this quarter. If you're interested, we do have some seats available, so please check it out. I'd also like to thank Dr. Jim Graham, the chair of the psychology department, for supporting in large part today's presentation to this group. By way of introduction, we'd like to show you a short 1-minute video that will highlight some of Uili's activism around the world.
My home, my history, my country is under threat because of climate change. The sea is rising, the temperature is increasing. The biodiversity of our ocean and our livelihood is under threat. Climate change is making tropical cyclones stronger, adversely affecting agricultural production. We are so proud to say the humpback whales making Tonga is their home, and we are concerned for their future. Please join us to creating the Kingdom of Tonga and our Pacific, a safe passage for our future of our children and our children's children. Malo au pito, si o tatua au whātu.
Uili and I are collaborating on several projects in the Kingdom of Tonga with Jim Graham and others from the University of the South Pacific. It's really a very special pleasure and honor and rare opportunity for you to meet someone from the Kingdom of Tonga, Uili Lousi.
I know the photos I will show you now, it will give you much more energy. You know, he was mentioning Al Gore. He could be here. This is me and Al Gore. So instead of having him, you got me. So that photo will be going up. I'm Uili Lousi, and it's totally a privilege. I was one of you guys. 1989, I was sitting in front of my first lecture, and I did not know what the lecturer was saying in English. And that's the hope and perseverance and persistence that I have. I always know there's something bigger in my lifetime that I need to do. I study philosophy, logic, physics, and mathematics, pure maths, and applied maths, just for the hell of it. Because it was the hardest subjects anybody can ever encounter. And that's the only reason why I was doing it. So I walk away after 2 years, not knowing what was my pathways ahead of me. And may this moment enriching you, your purpose in life. We are living in a most vulnerable time, but the most outstanding and beautiful time that you ever live, that most people wish to walk on this time. And that's the hope that I bring to you. This is the Kingdom of Tonga. The only way that you're going to get to Tonga is via New Zealand, Australia, or Fiji before you step into the Kingdom of Tonga. Some of you will be in Tonga soon or later. Whatever pathways you're going to take, make it purposeful, because you are the children and the leaders of the future. May I state that clearly again? That's my voice of concern. You are the leaders of the future. And that future is today, not tomorrow. The Kingdom of Tonga is one of the most ancient spaces in the world. Our history was started in 950. Our first king, which his name was King Au, and our current king is named King Auetu, or Tupou the Sixth. Today, a few hours ago, he delivers his message at the United Nations. Listen to it if you have time. He's much more eloquent than I am. I already listened to his speech. I was personally invited for his speech to be at the United Nations. I just came out from New York to be here. I flew into here on Tuesday because I already had a prior commitment with Professor Dr. David Sattler to be here. We set that pathway a few weeks ago while we were in Fiji or in Tonga, that I will fly out of New York on September the 25th. And that's exactly what happened. 24th, I think. So I lost date. But what I'm saying, whatever you're doing, make it. It's your purpose. There's an old saying in Tonga, it's a proverb. Koe hakau o e ahoni, koe whanua ia o e apongipongi. And that was the message of the youth, International Youth of Tonga for this year, celebrating in Tonga in August the 13th or the 14th, if I remembered. I happened to be in Tonga. And that's meant I lost translation in here. The coral reef of today is the island of tomorrow. What's it mean? Reference to you? You are the future of tomorrow, but tomorrow is today. Our population is 108 people who are living in Tonga. 75% of Tonga are living on the main island. It's ranked in the second most vulnerable country in the world to natural disasters. Firstly was Vanuatu, and then Tonga, the second. I was in Vanuatu about a week ago. On my way here, I had to go through Vanuatu for some interaction of what I do. As I mentioned, King Tupou VI, the Kingdom of Tonga, meeting of the United Nations September last year, his speech this year, he acknowledged a similar thing about climate change. Continues to pose significant security threats to us as island states. He stressed the devastating impact of climate change on our marine environment. It's so apparent. The climate change in Tonga and the warming air and ocean surface temperature and the number of hot days are increasing. This year, in June this year, the hot summer of Paris, I was there, and it was hot. It was 47 Celsius. I love being in the heat, believe me. I've been doing yoga, hot Bikram yoga, for over 12 years now. And some of you may know what Bikram yoga does. It's like you are imprisoning yourself in the heat, not knowing what you're doing it for, but it's good for you. And it sounds like climate change. Warmer ocean waters fuel the cyclone and are creating stronger and more intense cyclones. And that's how I met Professor Dr. David Sattler. It was after Gita. The cyclone hit Tonga. I was in Australia. I was on my way from London. One of the hats that I wear, which I love the most, I'm a global international artist. So you see some of that, and I use that on my deepest level, because I still use what I love the most. Mathematics, physics, philosophy, logic is in my artwork. Creating uncertainty regarding rainfall, increasing sea level and ocean acidification, creating stronger and more intense cyclones. All of that will cause food security. This is myself and Prince Harry in Tonga. And traditionally, you cannot touch a prince. But I am, because I'm one. Don't tell anybody that. So it was remarkable to meet him. And his speech, when he was delivering in Tonga, for the royal guests in Tonga, I was in there. I was in Tonga, but I didn't want to be there. and all of Tongan royalties and most prominent people in Tonga were invited for this royal dinner. And he delivered his royal message from the Queen. And I was fortunate enough. The only name was he mentioned, apart from our royal Tongan family, is the person who's standing in front of you, Uili Lousi. It's truly a privilege. This is myself with one of our most prominent hero, which I adore in lots of levels, Al Gore. I had the opportunity to do a panel with him in Queensland this year. It was on my way back, I think, from Europe. So to bring you the story, you can watch my encounter with Al Gore on my website, will come out later. This is myself and Dr. David Sattler, last year at the United Nations, the climate conference. This is where you met Greta. Most of the people they did not know her at the time. Now she's become a rock star or superstar of the voices that triggers lots of people to come out with their own truth. And this is part of what I do. If you look back, I'm like, wow, this is outstanding. Behind of the indigenous, how incredible is that as part of my art, as part of something that is similar to what I do as an artist. I did not notice that. This is myself this year at the Quai Branly Museum in the Sac-Chirac, one of the most outstanding contemporary museums in the world, with the architect of it too, in Paris. I was part of the Oceania, celebrating our Oceania exhibition was taking place. It was in March this year to June this year. And that's the reason why I was back in Paris. I was there in March, I was there in April, I was there in May, I was there in June. I was blessed enough to put my work up in the private collections among of the people who passed on. This is myself with the team that I help out as a mentor for them. We must, we can, and we will solve the climate crisis. And I think that's the message I will have to you, to encouraging you, or really reinforcing you, or really re-strengthening you, your positions for what you are doing. Continue to do what you do best. Distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the people of the Kingdom of Tonga and the Pacific, may I firstly extend my personal gratitude to Western Washington University for hosting my visit and enabling me to stand in front of you today. Ladies and gentlemen, today I wish to convey the voices of the people of the Pacific and present the realities that we have experienced, particularly our youth. That is their voices that I bring to you, and our children's. And we'll continue to endure it if the world does not come together in unison to stave off the ravages brought on by climate change. I speak on behalf of people historically connected through culture, heritage, and family. But what has always bound us together is our Pacific Ocean. We share that ocean here in Bellingham. One of my favorite sayings, and I will say that again, a great sociologist of our time, late Professor Ebeli Hauofa. This is what he was saying. I met him in person, personally. 2006, I met him in person. One of his sayings, he said, is this: we are small islands floating or existing in the Pacific Ocean, on a bigger ocean, a vast ocean. But he also mentioned the most vital thing. The ocean does not separate us. It's united us. That's the hope that I bring to you. Let your voices and the voices of the children from the Pacific unite it. And that's the only hope that we can bring together to stand and make it as our voices for you, for your children's future is under threatening. The Pacific Ocean is our home from where we harvest food, resources for weaving fine mats and tapa cloth. It's also where our history is written, our culture developed, our heritage ingrained, and our myths and legends derived. It is also the oceanic pathways that connect us, our island homes, to each other. That's our home, connecting us to Fiji, Samoa, Vanuatu, everywhere around the Pacific. We called it the Pacific Ocean, the Polynesian, the Melanesian, or the Micronesians. But before all of these voices we are calling Polynesian, Melanesian, Micronesians, we're all one people. And happened to be the Kingdom of Tonga, the guardian of the Pacific. At this very moment, we are all very well aware that we're constantly under the threat of the greatest challenge to human existence, climate change. Last year, at the COP24 in Katowice, I missed out the most beautiful message by Sir David Attenborough. I had a commitment on December the 3rd in London at the Royal Academy of Arts, and I could not be there. I arrived there on a Wednesday to be with the Tongan delegation, December the 5th. This is one of his words. It took 1.5 to 1.7 billions for our Mother Earth to come together and exist in the beautiful places where we call Mother Earth and live on. It takes 250 years to 350 years to become extinct if we're not going to do something about it. Inaction, or the failure to act on climate change, has the potential to steer us in the world toward oblivion. We and the people of the Pacific are seafaring and agrarian people whom for millennia have become accustomed and at one with our natural environment. The traditional knowledge of our lands, our skies, and our ocean has gifted our people with an ability to notice the slightest to the most drastic changes to our natural environments. One of the fundamental points that I learned personally from Queensland climate reality training, how vital of the wisdoms of the past can become something to point at us to the future, or saving us for the future. And I'm pretty sure the native wisdoms of this land hold it. Reach out for those knowledges and utilize that to your maximum power. Climate change is now blaring that knowledge. We are now receiving cyclones outside of what is traditionally been termed cyclone season, and are experiencing unprecedented Category 5 cyclone, such as Tropical Cyclone Gita in 2018. These cyclones have ripped through our islands, laying waste to anything and anyone lying in its path. Our infrastructure was battered and smashed. Our agricultural lands was devastated. Our watersheds and water aquifers contaminated. Our emergency services overrun with casualties, and our power and communication severed. As an eyewitness to the carnage, it is a terrifying experience staring straight into the eye of storm. I had that experience 1981, Cyclone Isaac. I was a teenager at the time. And it's still riveting memories. An eyewitness to the carnage, it is terrifying experiences, staring straight into the eye of a storm, knowing that any time, in the blink of an eye, I may become another statistic. Much of my island is 1 meter or 2 above sea level, and one loses sleep knowing that at any time in the night, a king tide can swarm or can sweep away your children, or your relatives, or your friends as they sleep. Rising sea level threatens our very existence. Please, if you have something that you need to contribute, at the moment I'm working closely with MAPS to save the Arctic. MABS. And the reason for that, multiple reasons for that. I myself setting up a pathway for the whales from the Kingdom of Tonga to the Antarctica. And the whales is also moving from Antarctica to the Arctic. But my main concern, the melting of the Arctic Ocean, it will raise the Pacific Ocean. And Tonga and its beautiful culture and heritage may not exist, will be underwater. We span across the ocean with strength, endurance, and tenacity, and friendship. And we are again united in the battle to conquer the effects and impact brought on by climate change. My homeland of Tonga, like all the other Pacific Island states, are the frontline countries to the effects of climate change. As I said earlier, with Tonga currently ranked as the world's second most at-risk country to disasters, apart from Vanuatu. It is irrefutable that the effects of climate change threatens the very existence of Pacific small island developing states. It is swiftly eroding our capacities for resilience. Our Pacific Ocean was one teeming with an abundance and variety of food sources, ranging from coastal shellfish to deep-sea tuna. The ocean provides us with sources of food security second to none, which we share with the world. You may not know, 70 to 75% of the food consumption of the ocean is provided by the Pacific Ocean. However, there are those who continue to be labeled the oceans as the world's largest carbon sinks. The global community must do away with this interpretation as a sink. Not should it be viewed as a dumping ground for plastics and nuclear waste. We are finding more and more whales decaying on our shores with bellies full of waste plastics. We are witnessing rising sea levels in the Republic of the Marshall Islands that is causing stress, fractures on nuclear waste dump sites. We will likely see the demise of our small island nation states, and ultimately the disappearance of our people and our culture. We will lose our natural or our national sovereignty, our national autonomy, and our national security as the effects of climate change displace unprecedented number of people. Imagine you're going home today to the home that you love, is called your home, and your home is not there. The scientific community has validated everything I have spoken of so far. And I think that's the message that Greta Thunberg gave, and it triggers a lot of emotions of other world leaders to react. Because she speaks with the science. And that's what she was talking about, the IPCC report. It was releasing last year. And then this year again, was IPCC report was releasing a few weeks ago, or a month ago, if I remember, around about 1.5 million of species extinct due to climate change. The implementation of the Paris Agreement brought a new hope that rests on the conscience of the citizens of the world. World leaders and our leaders of tomorrow is you. Everyone here today is a world leader. In that, the actions we generate here today will be taken forward by the leaders of tomorrow, which is you are of today. I must stress that our success or failure as a global community, and especially for small island developing states, hinges on the need to rapidly build and foster genuine and durable partnerships, as it is only through such partnerships can we build resilience and hope, such as the partnerships that I enable myself to be here because of the partnership with Western Washington University with Professor Dr. David Sattler. I was in Paris 2015. I was an activist. I flew out of New York to be there. And let me tell you, it was one of those experiences that moves me and is still moving me. We are in the Pacific, are very well aware that the world is currently on course where we have now reached a 1.1 degrees Celsius increase in temperature. And we strongly re-emphasize the intrinsic value and imperative for limiting temperature increase to 1.5 Celsius. If it's getting hotter, if the sea is getting hotter, the food security or the biodiversity is under threatening, which is currently happening now. A goal that can only be achieved through genuine global cooperation in the implementation of the Paris Agreement. The Sentai framework, or the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Samoa Pathway. And some of you may know where Samoa is. It's in the Pacific. And the Samoa Pathway was the first time that the Pacific Ocean islands bring them together. And then tomorrow, at the United Nations, they are reviewing the Samoa Pathway. And that's how huge it is, the voices of the Pacific. Our planet and its ocean are the global commons, which bind us together as a species. We are not separate from our natural environment. We are and will forever continue to be part of nature and its entire splendor. The damage we do to our lands, our skies, and our ocean ultimately leads to our own demise. His Majesty King George VI mentioned that today. We are only cause of 0.01 for the effect of the carbon emission. But we are the consequential effect of someone else's action. My message is to uniting us together, especially you. You are the future. Today is your tomorrow. You will make the difference. And I'm pretty sure you will make that difference. Upon ratifying the Paris Agreement, Tonga is committed in ensuring rapid progression at a national level that will empower and enable our efforts to implement the necessary actions toward achieving not only our NTC targets, but steps towards saving our planet. The Kingdom of Tonga extends these same values and imperatives towards strengthening dialogue and partnership for the enhancement of action, support and synergize in bringing together and enhancing actions under the Climate and Ocean Nexus. A Climate-Ocean Nexus is critical for ensuring and increasing deliberations for the inclusion and prevalence of ocean in the Paris Agreement work program. The Pacific is already steering toward development of an ocean pathway in preparation for the COP25 or the Blue COP in Santiago in Chile this year, which is taking place on December the 2nd to December the 15th. I will have the privilege to be there at the opening of it. So as Professor Dr. David Sattler and one of his colleagues will be there. On behalf of the people of the Kingdom of Tonga. And that was, I was raising and embracing the partnership, how important it is. Western Washington University will be represented at the COP25 in Chile, in Santiago, under the government of Tonga. And how beautiful is that? In conclusion, and in light of the ominous gloom which emanates from the effects of climate change, it will permeate throughout these energies. Let us, the people of the world, the future of tomorrow, which you are of today, again call forth our strength, our endurance, our tenacity, and through our friendships and through our working together, we can and will conquer the greatest threat to our very existence. And so doing, let us leave no stone unturned, and let us not leave anything to chance, but let us do everything by design. And that's your destiny, and that's my destiny. Malo Pito. Thank you.